Thank you so much for being with us today in La Divinidad en mí. Today we have a special guest with us, Vinney Tolman, and he is our brother who went to heaven, who went home, back home, and got back here on earth with and brought a beautiful his experience, but also knowledge and wisdom back here in earth. And he's going to tell us his story and what happened to him. And also, he was declared dead for 45 minutes clinically, and he was also in a coma for 3 days. During that time is when he had this beautiful experience. And we are welcome, Vinney, to our program, and thank you so much for being with us. Well, and then Diana is going to also say hi to Vinney and welcome him to our channel. Thank you.
Thank
I
you
just
for
want to
having
say
me.
that I'm so glad we are so glad to have you here. We appreciate your time. We just thankful for you to be in and being there. Really, your story are touching so many hearts, and for now, what we would like is to share also that story for the Spanish speakers. So for that reason, we are so excited with this video today, because we would like to have the energy of your voice, but with subtitles in Spanish, and that way we can have all your story spreading to all the Spanish speakers. So thank you so much for being there, for being you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to speak to mi hermanos y mi hermanas, my brothers and sisters. I'm really grateful to be here to speak to both of you, both as, sisters in the light. I'm Vinney Tolman. I'm here sharing my experience. And in 2003, I was found dead in a Dairy Queen bathroom in the United States. I didn't know that I had died. I went from feeling very dizzy to all of a sudden I was looking down at a body, and I didn't know it was me. I just thought I'm watching some kind of movie, and that must be the movie about this dead body. Well, fast forward in my experience, an ambulance comes and they find the body. They try to get the life to come back in the body, but it doesn't. So they put the body in a bag, they strap it down, and they put it in the back of the ambulance, and they make a brand new rookie. They make him sit in the back of the ambulance and watch the body, while the other medics, they got some paperwork filled out, they got witness statements, and a few minutes later they left the scene. And while they were driving down the street, only about 1 block away from where they found me, the rookie, he felt something come over him. He felt something tell him that this one is not dead. So he had to undo some straps on the body, and then he opened up the body bag and he was feeling around for a pulse, but he couldn't feel any. So he went and he was feeling under the arm, still no pulse. But then he went to the leg. So on our leg we have a big artery, and he was feeling for life there. When he did that, he felt like a spark. It was just a little spark. And that spark to him was a sign that he needed to try to save this man. So he went ahead, he opened up the shirt, he hooked up some equipment on the body, and he was able to shock the heart. And one shock, nothing. 2 shocks, he got 1 heartbeat. On the 3rd shock, he got a steady heartbeat, and it was steady. One of the miracles is that the heart was started when they were in front of a hospital. So they were able to turn the ambulance directly into a hospital, and there was many people there ready. They could meet the ambulance and start working on the body. Me, I still think I'm watching a movie. I don't think it's real. I think I'm thinking in my head, why would the people making this movie, why would they shoot the film from up above? I thought it was silly. I didn't think it was smart. And as they brought the body into the hospital, the body started going into seizures and going into convulsions. They had to strap it down. So they strapped the legs and the arms down on the gurney. And when I saw them strapping the arms down, I could feel someone strapping me down. So I looked down to where my left arm should be. I looked down and I saw the left arm of the body. And that's when I had this crazy moment that I realized that everything I've been watching for almost 2 hours was my own death. I had no idea. I've tried to express to people what that's like. It's like when you're driving on the street and you see a car that looks like your car over there, and you see someone driving that car. They look just like you, but you don't think it's you because you're over here. And that's what it felt like. It felt like I was watching something, but it wasn't me. So I was witnessing all of this, and I started to feel a lot of darkness and fear. It came in and it flooded over me. And before you know it, I start seeing every little bad thing that I ever did. Even when I was a little boy and I would do something naughty, I was watching that. As I got older, I would get in fights. I was watching that. But I was also feeling, when I would fight someone, I was feeling what they felt. I wasn't just feeling what I did. I was feeling how they felt. And I got to a point where I was done. I didn't want to watch anymore. I felt that this was a sad movie I didn't want to watch. And that's when I started to see every good thing that I ever did. And then the movie got better. I got to see the good that I did as a child, as a teenager, as an adult. I got to see sometimes I didn't even know I was doing good. I was just being me. And I got to see that I did good even when I wasn't trying to do good. And that's when I could feel this tremendous love start pouring over me. It felt as if there was a big light up behind me shining down. I could feel just this warmth laying down over me. And so I turned around to see where the warmth was coming from. And I could see this man. He was standing there, very, very tall. He was all dressed in white. His skin, it was the color of like a beautiful peach. And his beard, he had a big beard, a long beard. It was white. It was like white as rice or snow or paper. It's just so white. And he was all dressed in white. His whole body was dressed in white clothes. My first thought the first thing I can think, oh, this is God. And as soon as I had that thought, I heard him tell me, but he didn't move his mouth. He didn't move his mouth. He said, no, son, I'm not God. And so I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And the next thing I can think of is Jesus. So I asked, are you Jesus? And he said, no, son, I'm not Jesus. He said, I'm your guide. I'm here to help you go wherever you want to go. And he motioned back to my body. He said, I can help you go back to your body, or I can help you go anywhere in the universe. And I thought about it for a minute. I knew that I didn't want to go back to my body. I knew for a fact I didn't want that. So I asked him, where is this love that I'm feeling? The love that I feel pouring over me everywhere. Where is that coming from? I want to go there. So he showed me that love, it was coming from my original home. It would be your original home, my original home. Everyone's original home is where this love was coming from. So he showed me that he could take me there. So I chose. I said, let's go there. Let's go home. And that's when he started this journey with me to help me get closer to home. I thought for sure, because I was Christian, that there was a special home for the Christians. I thought for sure maybe there was a special train or a special vehicle or a special doorway just for the Christians. So I told him, I go, well, we don't need to do all that. You just show me where the door is for the Christians. I'll go there. And he thought that was cute. It made him smile. And he looked at me and he said, Vinney, I love that you think that's how it is, but it's not like that. He said, for you to go home, I have to help you understand some things. And the understanding, I don't have to fully accept it. I just have to be willing to know that it's possibly true. And so I said, yes, let's go. Let's do this. And we began our journey. The journey, it starts with, I thought the journey was going to start with love, but it didn't. I looked at Drek. My guide, he told me that his name is Drek. I looked at him and I said, okay, everything is all about love. Love is going to get us to heaven, to home. I know that answer already. We don't need to talk about that. And again, he just smiles and he shakes his head and he goes, I love you think that it's all about love, but you cannot feel love and you cannot give love unless you authentically know who you are. And I sat and thought about that. I thought that I knew who I was. And Drek, he showed me, he had this gift. He could go inside my mind and he could show me things. He showed me that in my life, there was the Vinney who would go to work. There was the Vinney who would go out on dates. There was the Vinney who would go to school. The Vinney who would go with his friends. There was the Vinney that would go with his parents. But they weren't the same Vinney. They were different. That I had a different face that I would put on with different people. And so Drek showed me that for me to go home, I had to take all the masks off, all of them. I had to take all the masks off, and I had to see what was underneath. And underneath was Vinney, just Vinney, me. So we began this journey of realizing who I really am and trying to allow myself to be who I have always been, with no masks. Then Drake showed me the whole reason we come to Earth. He asked me, Vinney, do you know why you came to Earth? And I said, yeah, it's so we can be tested, and we can go to hell or we can go to heaven. That's it. And again, he just smiled and said, well, that's not totally accurate. We come to Earth because we were already tested. We were tested before we came to Earth, and we passed tests to get to Earth. And Earth is the playground. Earth is where we come to play, we come to learn, we come to grow, we come to make decisions. Drake showed me that in heaven, we're so in love with our God, our Creator, that anything that God wants, we want. We can't have a different decision than God. But if we worked really hard, we got to come to Earth. That was our present. That was our gift. We get to go to Earth where we learn how to make choices. We learn how to build relationships. We learn how to love. We learn how to hate. That it's all part of our growth. But he showed me that Earth is just a school. It's not a test. The real test is to figure out it's not a test. That's the real test. And Drake helped me understand that. He helped me know that sometimes my best moments were after I made big mistakes, because I would grow, I would learn from my mistakes, and that those mistakes were just me playing at the playground of life. And that was very very mind-blowing. Felt like my mind was blowing up, because it shifted everything for me. Shifted my reality, my beliefs, all the structures of what I knew to be my beliefs. And that's when Drake showed me that one of the main purposes to come here is to learn how to love everyone. Everyone. And I thought, I do love everyone. And Drake smiled and he goes, are you sure you love everyone? And he taught me the principle of the pointed finger. So he said, in life, sometimes we point our finger at someone and we say something bad. But when we do that, we're pointing 3 fingers back at ourselves. That there's no way to send anger or judgment to someone else without receiving it back 3 times more. And that loving everyone means that we give the love and the grace that we want from God. We give that to all, and that is loving everyone. Then he taught me that if we can put love in our heart, we can awaken a voice inside of us. And I don't mean like a voice of, a little man inside me. I mean a voice that awakens inside me if I can feel love for all of my fellow man and woman. If I can bring love into my heart, that love, it turns on a voice inside of me. And that voice is my Creator. And that all of us have an inner voice. All of us. We learn how to listen different ways. but we all have an inner voice. He showed me that I can listen to my inner voice, but I would have to be careful about technology, because technology, it was going to try to replace the inner voice. And he showed me, this was back in 2003. The internet, cell phones, everything was different back then. But he showed me that in the future, our technology would be, it would be flashier than God. It would be more enticing than God. And that people would turn to their technology and they would turn away from God. I didn't think that could happen, but yet here I am, and it's happening now. The first, our ancestors, when they would wake up, the first thing they would do is they would say prayer. Nowadays, first thing you wake up, you grab your cell phone. So this is the prayer for so many people now. And we've forgotten who we really are. But Drek, he showed me that all those years ago, that technology would try to replace God. And I would say for a lot of people it has. By today's standard, a lot of people worship their technology more than they worship God. And maybe they don't have God because their technology is God. But that's when he showed me that the next step was to learn how to release all prejudice. And I smiled, I leaned back, and I said, this is not a problem for me. I have no prejudice. And so he looked at me and he goes, you don't have any prejudice? And I said, no, none at all. So he asked me, he says, if you don't have prejudice, how do you feel about prejudiced people? And I got big-eyed and I go, let me tell you about prejudiced people. They're not good. The earth doesn't need them. Humanity, we can get rid of all of them. We can throw them away. Like if someone's prejudiced, we don't want them. And Drek, he showed me that my body, it was going from not prejudice, and he lifted it up and he put it over on the prejudice team. And he made it feel that by me hating prejudiced people, I myself was prejudiced. And I had my second just mind-blowing, because I had never seen it that way ever before. You can never fight prejudice with prejudice. You cannot. You can't fight prejudice. You can teach people to love. And that's the solution to prejudice, is teaching to love. Then Drek showed me the next step that I had to take. And that next step is that we have power. We have magic wands. Our thoughts, the things we think, those are our magic wands. We create with our thoughts. What we allow ourselves to think, we will create. And that we need to use that power wisely. Drek showed me that in life, many of us, we wake up every day saying, God, why do you curse me with this life? And all day we think negative, negative, negative. And then we ask God, why do we have a negative life? So we have to learn how to use our thoughts to think positive, and that gives us the power to make a positive life, to create a positive life. And that's when Drek showed me that if our thoughts are so powerful, we need to be careful to avoid negative influences and seek out positive influences. If we can surround ourselves with positive influences, positive energy, positive role models, we can make our life so much better with the positive energy around us. And then lastly, he showed me that there's purpose even in evil. That in this life, if God takes away evil, there is no choice. And for us to learn, we have to have choice. We have to have the ability to choose. So yes, sometimes that choice comes as a bad choice or an evil choice. And that brought me to the last part where Drek showed me that we are all one, all of us. So all of us are fingers on God's hand. Whether we're born in United States or Mexico or Spain or Italy or Germany, we're all fingers on the same hand.
The same.
All of us. And that when we start treating each other as all fingers on the same hand, we will change everything on this planet. Everything. And that's when I started to see this far off place. I could see it looked like a sun, like a really big sun. And as we gotten closer and closer and closer, I realized it was not a sun, it was a planet. But it was huge. It felt, I don't really understand this part of physics and math, but it felt like it was maybe a million times larger than Earth. It felt like you could put a million Earths inside this planet. It was huge, just tremendously big. As we're getting closer and closer, I'm seeing green all over this planet. And we actually came down and my feet landed in the grass. And when they did, the grass came up and hugged my toes. It hugged me. And I could feel the excitement that the grass had because I was back. And I could feel that I missed the grass. I could feel the grass missed me. I could feel that the grass was celebrating and cheering and singing because I was back. I could see that the grass itself, it had waves of light coming off of it. It even had a taste. You could taste the grass just by touching it. And that there was a symphony of music coming from the grass. And not just because I was there, but because I existed. I could also feel that every blade of grass had consciousness. Every blade. If I brought one blade of grass from heaven and I brought it to our Earth would explode. Our entire solar system would explode because there's so much love in a single blade of grass. I could feel my Creator connecting to me through the grass. And Drek is over there smiling. He's like shaking his head like, wow, he's having fun. And he says out loud, he goes, Vinney, if you like the grass, you should see the flowers. And it was just, what? There's flowers? And I felt like I was going to explode. But he took my consciousness from there and he put my consciousness on a flower, like on the petals of a flower. And as I was running around, I was so excited. I was running around just wanting to feel this flower and see the flower and smell the flower and experience it. I could see everywhere that I touched, the flower had a brighter color, that it moved around with me, and that inside the flower petals, it was like lavender liquid light, and it was just flowing through it. I could feel the supreme consciousness inside this simple, beautiful flower. And I could feel how much it loved me. I could also feel that I could never deserve this much love. No one can. And that love, it was being given to me not because I deserved it, but because I was a creation of my creator. And I was being celebrated in my return home. And then Drake, he came over and said, I see you like those flowers. You should see the trees. And I did it again. I was like, there's trees. What? There's trees. And so I went and I saw the trees. I could feel these grand, ancient giants of trees and how they looked at us like hummingbirds. They look at us like running around and doing the things we do, and they feel they are the normal ones. But they look at us with absolute love. And they were trying to connect to me and give me a beautiful intelligence. And as all of this was going on, I noticed there was a building off one direction. And I've always been a builder since I was very young. I started building. So I was very, very interested in this building. So I moved my consciousness towards the building. I didn't get all the way there, but I was moving towards the building, and I could see that this beautiful white building was all made out of one piece of marble, the entire building. And that this building, the marble that it was built out of, it was living. It looked like it was breathing. It looked alive. There was even these beautiful golds and pink and yellow and all these natural marble colors. They were flowing through it like a living thing. I also saw that there were some people over there, and they were excited. They had these special tablets, and they were going to go into this building to do learning. And they would go to a room, and the room would open up only if they could get their frequency, their energy to a high level, and then they could enter the room. But if they couldn't, they would just keep walking and go to another room until they found the room that matched their frequency. But then if they found a room that their frequency matched, an opening just forms in the wall. They walk in, and then it just seals itself like liquid. And I'm just so excited to be here. I'm looking around. I think this could never get any better. Nothing can be better than this. And that's when Drake came around, and he put his arm around me. And he looked at me square in the eyes, and he goes, Vinney, this is going to be really hard, but it's going to be worth it. And as soon as he said that, I heard in my ear, my brother on earth. He was saying a special prayer over my body. He was commanding my body to be healed. He was commanding my soul to come back to the body. What I didn't know is I had been brain dead for 3 days. My body had been brain dead in a coma for 3 days. And my brother was saying this special prayer over me to bring my soul back. And the next thing I know, I feel this boom of energy. And it came off of me and Drake. This huge blast of energy. And then I felt another blast. It was another boom. And the next thing I know, I'm back in my body. I'm waking up. I'm looking around. I do remember it was 1:11 in the morning. And it was 3 days after I had gone to the hospital. I didn't feel lucky. I felt cursed. And everyone in the hospital, they kept telling me, "You're the miracle boy. You're the miracle. You're the miracle." I didn't feel like a miracle. I felt like cursed because all I could think about was going back home. And from 1 in the morning until 7 in the morning, the hospital did every test possible on me to make sure that I was okay. And I passed all of those tests. They wanted to keep me for at least another day, maybe 2, but I was done. I wanted to go home. So I got checked out of the hospital. I had somebody come pick me up. I went home, but once I went home, I still wanted to go home. I wasn't home. And that became a very rough part of my experience because I wanted to kill myself. Every day I thought about it. I wanted to end my life so I could go back home. But Drake, he was still very much alive in my mind, in my soul. And he kept reminding me, "Vinney, I told you, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it." And a few weeks after that, in a random circumstance, I went to a friend's house and I knocked on the door. Nobody was answering. I knocked again. Nobody answered. I knocked a third time and the door swings open and there's this girl standing there, this woman standing there. And when I looked in her eyes, I actually could see heaven. And for 3 minutes, we both just stood there, just staring at each other. No words, no anything, just staring. And this was the first time I met Andrea, who's my wife. She awakened something in me. She awakened the idea that heaven, it can be here. It doesn't have to be some far off place. That we can find it here. We can create it here. We can find it in a breath here. We can choose to hold it in our breath here. Well, Andrea, she awakened something really precious in me because now I didn't want to kill myself. Now I wanted to stick around I just wanted to see how this one was going to go. And about 10 days after we met, we knew we were going to get married, and we had not even been on one date. We knew that God had arranged our marriage. And it was 6 months later after that, or 4 months later after I met Andrea, I was in this little town in Wyoming. I was watching a presentation, a play and a presentation about the history of this little town in Wyoming. And up on the screen, I see Drake. But the hard part was, it didn't say his name was Drake. It said his name was Charles. So I I recognized his last name. It was the same as my grandmother. So I went to my grandmother's house and I said, "Grandmother, who is this Charles? Who is this man?" And her response was, "Oh, great grandpa Drake. He's kind of famous." And right then and there, everything in my mind that could have been an illusion or a hallucination, it was now brought to earth and it was real. Real. That I met Drake, and not only did I meet him, he was in the room with me when my grandmother was telling me about him. I knew him, I know him. I work with him all the time, almost every day. And now I knew that God gave me that little answer, that this was something very real that I needed to figure out how to implement and how to internalize and learn from my experience. So that happened in 2003. The last 22 years, I've been speaking about it, sharing it, sometimes with people who want to hear. Some people don't want to hear. I still share it with them. But many years ago, when I first started sharing it, people would ask me, do you have a book? I want to read this in a book. Can you put it in a book? And I'll pay to have it printed. And so over the years, I decided I would get it printed. And so I've had it printed for a few years now. We've sold a whole lot of copies, but to me, it's not about the selling of the book. It's about sharing of my experience. Now, my experience is just my experience. I don't think it's going to be everyone's experience. But for me, it was absolutely life-changing. For me, it made me live in a completely different way. And I work with the angels. I work with the saints. I work with my ancestors, Drake. I work every day with spirits who are on the other side, and I help people navigate life. And I feel so blessed that that's what I get to do. I'm so grateful that my experience happened to me, because it gives me the ability to help remind everybody where we come from, who we are, and where we get to go back to when we're done here. And that's my experience.
Yes, so much, Vennie. What is the name of the book, Vennie? What is the name of the book in English and Spanish? And that way Natalia can put all the information in the...
Yeah, so it's called The Light After Death.
Mhm.
And then we have a workbook that helps people learn about the principles that I learned. And that workbook is called...
Book.
Yeah, you have that one, right? That one's called Living the Light. And they can get all of them on my website at livinggodslight.org. Yeah.
Okay. And in Spanish, you say that now
Yes,
it is in
so
Spanish, so that's
we
the
have
excellent news.
Yeah, we have the workbook in Spanish, and then we are working on getting The Light After Death in Spanish as well. That will be done within the next couple of months. And then, in fact, it might be done already. I need to check. And then eventually what we're going to do is have international distribution. Right now, we're based out of the United States, but you can have it shipped anywhere in the world if you go through our website. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for that. I have a lot of questions in my head right now. Let me think. I have a
Me
couple
too.
in here. Well, you were saying that you woke up in a time 1111. That isn't it that crazy?
Yeah. At 1:11 a.m. Yep.
You also talk about that we're going to be communicating through a device, something that made of crystal, something like that in the future?
Yeah, it was like a tablet made of crystal. Yeah, it was like a crystal tablet. Yeah.
Yes, a tablet. And also to be able to communicate with this device, we need to have our energy higher so we can be able to use it, don't we? How do we elevate our energies so we can match this and be able to use it?
Yeah, we do. We don't realize that when we're not happy with our own life, it's because we're knowing that there's a lot of steps on the ladder that we're not climbing. And sometimes we just need to climb that ladder a little bit, raise our frequency, raise our love energy, and now we experience a completely different version of life. Yeah.
Also, when you were at the presence of your guide, did you feel that he was separate from you, or do you think that he was part of you, or your higher self, your other you, but on different timeline, who was speaking to you?
That we all carry our creator in us. We all do. And so in that way, I would say possibly, yeah. But at the same time, I was there interacting directly with him. So to me, to my human brain, I think that couldn't be the same thing, same person. But I know that we both carry that same light of God within us. I did look up, we do have the book in Spanish on Amazon. So it's called La Luz Después de la Muerte. Muerta.
Correcto. Muy bien dicho. Yeah, well said.
We got it.
La luz después de la muerte. Wow.
Yeah.
In a perfect timing for this video.
Yeah, it is perfect timing. In fact, we have it on Amazon, but we don't have it on our own website yet. So that'll get updated soon. Yeah.
Okay, but that's great. Okay, I have another. One personal question and another one that is like not that personal, but the first one is like the personal one. So, with all the experience that you had, I imagine you already asked yourself this question, and maybe you already answered. I don't know yet. So, maybe even answer it. Why do you think or you feel you went through all of this? So, like the question is like, as also Natalia said, like maybe you already decided that was going to happen, but the thing is, maybe you did something. Like what is the answer? The why?
So I was asking myself that for a long time, for more than 10 years. After 10 years of sharing the experience here and there, not a lot, but in small groups, I started to share it in larger groups, and then larger groups, and then larger groups. I started to feel that when people were hearing about my experience, they were feeling a change come over them, a good change, like an awakening. And I was loving the fact that they were experiencing that change just by me sharing my experience. And that's when Spirit helped me understand that that's why all of the near-death experiencers survive, is so that we can remind all of us who we really are, where we come from, and where we get to go back to. You know, in this life, we get so afraid of death. I'm not. I'm excited one day. I'm not gonna
We are not
invite
living, right? We are not living.
We don't
like
leave.
There are people that they don't live.
Yeah. So we get to change our relationship with death. That makes us make different decisions if we're not so afraid of dying. It lets us stand on our principles. Yeah. It lets us find good energy and good people to be around. But to me, heaven needed a PR campaign, a public relations campaign. That's why there's so many experiencers talking about their experience now.
But not to the point to looking for the end, right?
Yeah, not for it's so So we don't forget heaven. We remember heaven. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, but not to the way that you were like, I want to be there. No, let's have the experience here. Let's
Yeah.
enjoy
Experience it
somehow,
here. Yep. Yeah. Make heaven happen here. Yeah.
Exactly, at the same time. Okay, got it. Thank you, Vinney.
Yeah.
Nathan, you have
Absolutely.
another question?
Yes, I do have another question. You were talking about being authentic. What would be a good way for us to start practicing to be authentic in our daily life with everything that we do, so we can be happier and really start getting in connection with that love, so we can love one another by being authentic and loving ourselves by being authentic.
So here's the best practice. Okay. Wake up and go about your day and set an alarm on your phone. When the alarm clock goes off on your phone, ask yourself, would I be acting differently if my mother was here, if my friends are here, if my children are here? Would I change how I'm acting? And if the answer is yes, we haven't found our authentic self yet. We want to be the same being no matter who's around us. And if once we find that part of our personality, then we know that's our authentic self. Here's what's funny. If you look at society, who is the most authentic in all of society? It's the children that are under 5 years old, or the people who are over 85 years old.
Yeah.
So under 5 or
That's true.
over 85, that's the most authentic. What's funny, you go to an ice cream shop. Who's getting ice cream? Under 5, over 85. That's
Yeah.
that's the realism. That's our most authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, this is really funny because I have a dream last night. Then you and Diana and I were together, and we were like talking. We were sitting down like in a table, and I was saying, "Oh, I have something really heavy right here." And then Diana said, "Yeah, yeah, look, I have something." And then you were helping me to heal that. But we were having fun, like sitting in a table, and there were other peoples around it too, and then they were also talking in that place. But we were like literally like children. It was just so funny. That was cute.
And I was like the child that says, yeah, she has that, like the one in the room saying, yeah, yeah, look at this.
What I love about that is you were watching what we're doing right now. That's what you were watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When Natalie told me, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I have another
There's
question.
complete
Okay, go ahead.
divinity. There's divinity in femininity. There's divinity in masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's true.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
But every person we have both, right?
We all have both. Yep.
Yeah, we all have.
And so we anchor to one side or the other, most of us.
Yeah.
But there's divinity in both aspects in
Mm-hmm.
all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, we need both, definitely. I have another question. So, as we were talking, the experience of life,
Mm-hmm.
general speaking, is not easy.
What?
Oh,
What are you talking
oh,
about?
yeah, yeah. Like,
I
like
haven't heard that.
as you already said, actually, to learn something, and we totally agree with that, to learn something, we need to see the opposite side. We cannot learn how to
Yes.
forgive if we don't
Yep.
feel hate. We cannot feel love if we don't hate. Like we need to feel the opposite. That's why we are here. So it's not
Yeah.
easy sometimes, just sometimes for some people.
Well, it's
So
the power of yin and yang, the light and
exactly.
the dark in unity. That's where there's power, right? There's not power with just one. It's power with both, right? It's also with the Israel, the Isis, Ra, Elohim. So Israel. So they talk about the gather of Israel, That's the unity of feminine, masculine, unified in God. And that's what all of us are. All of us are the Israel.
The first time that I hear that. Okay, so the thing is, it's not easy sometimes, and all of us, we want to have always flowers and birds singing, everything is paradise, and it's not the case. But knowing that, if you have the opportunity, you have that gift, like the opportunity to help people as a humanity as a whole, like touch everyone, navigate this dense life and experience in an easier way. What is the thing, the technique or the knowledge or the gift that would you share? Like one thing that you can say, you know what, I have the opportunity to give one.
I would say the greatest gift from my experience is I learned there is divine power in your breath. Breath. So let's do a little practice since we can. We're right here. Let's do a little practice of just deep breathing, okay? So when we're breathing in, I want you to imagine breathing in light. And when you breathe out, I want you to imagine breathing out the old or the darkness. Okay? So we'll begin and we'll go 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. And we'll do that 3 times, okay? So we'll go inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So one of the oldest words for God is Yahweh. Yahweh. So the Yah is the inhale, the way is the exhale. So the first thing we'll do when we are born is we say the Yahweh. The last thing we will do before we die, we will say the Yahweh. And for those who study the Bible in Genesis, it says God breathed life into being. Our breath is our number one most powerful ownership that we have. And when we're stressed, when we're fearful, our breaths, they're very short, very small. But when we're confident, when we're feeling joy, when we're feeling love, our breaths are deep, our exhales deep. So if we can make the body breathe as if it's joyful, guess what happens? It becomes joyful.
Wow.
So breath is so important.
And it's so simple,
Yeah.
And
That's why
we
there's so many happy smokers, because they put that cigarette up there like,
and it depends on the cigarette as well.
right? Well, that's what's crazy is it doesn't matter what's in their fingers. They don't need anything in there. They need the breathing. It's the breathing that brings them joy. It's not necessarily the tobacco or anything else. Yeah.
It's the need to feel something.
Yes.
All of us, we have the need to, I can touch this, like, what about God? But I cannot touch him. Like this is kind of the thing that all of us, we have, the material thing. That is not necessary. We don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need it. Yeah.
Thank you, Vennie.
During that meditation, I just felt so much light, so much higher vibration and love inside of me. Everything around me is starting to be so much light. Even in my own hands, I felt like tingly. and like electricity on my hands. It was like amazing. This is like wow, it's amazing. This meditation, everybody should do it, and we'll feel so much connection with God, and it's just God in me. Me and God are one. That's what it does. This meditation.
That's the light of Yeshua.
Powerful.
I am love. There's so much power in the I am. And because we, from my experience, I learned what we put around the I am, that becomes truth. So if I say, I am angry, I am hungry, I am sad, I am tired, I will create that.
Hmm.
But I can also say, I
am
am
love.
happy, I am love.
Yeah. The power of the words.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us,
Thank
Vinney.
you.
Thank you for your
Yeah.
time.
Thank you so
As
much.
yours, as is yours.
Thank you so much, Vinney, for being with us. And my inner child, is just so happy for you to be with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
I would love to come back. I'm also part of a couple of conventions coming up. I've got anybody in Dallas area in February, the first weekend in February. We are doing the Truth Tellers Conference, and you can find out details on my website on that. Also, in the first weekend of May in Salt Lake City, I have my own Living God's Light convention. It's going to be 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And you can come and work with my Living God's Light team and myself. We help you learn about your soul and about your body and about the matrix of what connects the two together, which that is your consciousness. And then in the last weekend
But that's in Texas as well?
No, that one's in Salt Lake City, actually. Salt Lake City on that
Salt
one.
Lake City. Yeah, to
And
put that in
then
the description.
in Seattle, in
Seattle.
the last weekend in August in Seattle, it's the IONS convention. And I recommend that everyone go to one of those conventions one time before they die. Because when you get the IONS convention is a bunch of experiencers, people that have died and come back. And when you get in a convention full of those, you feel like you're getting on a rocket ship just to go there, because everyone there exists at such a higher frequency, such a higher love energy. And when you go there, you find family. You don't find friends, you find soul family. So, and you'll find that at my conference and at the Truth Tellers too. But I'll tell you, if you could get to one of those, that would be so great. I would love to see you. Yeah.
Natalia, let's go to Seattle. That is through here.
Yes, that would be great. I'd like to go there.
Thank you. Vinney, do you want to share something at the end, like some message or something for everyone? That you
Say
feel
that
right
again,
now
sorry.
at this moment, you want to share some message, something
Yes, sure.
that you really want from your heart?
Let's plug in and see if there's something special that needs to be said. Yes, really, really strong. This would be a message for everyone, not just your audience, but especially your audience. Imagine that your sight is something you control, and make sure you're looking at good things. Even when the world is bringing you scary or bad things, seek out good things, or be the one creating good things for the other people to watch. And I don't mean just with podcasts, with shows, I mean with your actions. Seek out good and good will start following you everywhere you go. So if you feel that maybe God has cursed you or damned you in some way, stop seeing the bad. Stop watching the entertainment that's full of drama and trauma and violence. Seek out the good, and the good starts to seek you out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.